Hello, and thank you for watching Chromebookhelp.info. My name is James, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some more Pixlr photo editing stuff. Particularly, we're going to talk about how to add simple annotations to an image. Annotations meaning if you want to highlight a particular portion of an image, or if you're trying to give someone little helpful tips on where to click and things like that, and how to label things. So it's something that I do quite frequently, actually, and you'll even see how I created these basic images over here with this just this simple banner with the text on top of it. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to first open up Pixlr. You can just go to pixlr.com, or there is an app you can add to Chrome, the Pixlr editor. I already have it open up here, this little paintbrush favicon. So I'm going to go ahead and open the image that we're going to annotate. I took a screenshot of Pixlr's main website. We're going to go ahead and annotate some things. I'm going to show you the final product. What I did is I did some simple things up here. I highlighted a box and said click here to log in, so someone will know right away where to go to log in to this page. Labeled some menu items, labeled a couple of palm trees, gave some instructions over here to scroll down for more options. So this is what it's going to look like when we're done. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did all this. So within Pixlr, the screenshot, if I go to 100%, it's kind of big. I can't really see everything. So what I like to do is with this navigator over here, I like to just zoom out a little bit so I can see the whole image while I'm working. So let's go ahead and start with the login. Say you're wanting to show a friend Pixlr for the first time, and you just want to give them a couple basic tips, show them where to log in. And I'll be honest, I don't even know what logging into Pixlr does. I don't have a Pixlr account, so who knows? You don't need one to use it, but let's go ahead and just show our friend how we would go about logging into Pixlr. So first thing we're going to do, most of what we're going to do is going to involve this tool over here. I call it the shape tool because we use it to make shapes. I like to select the box with rounded corners. That's a personal preference. You can use a sharp corner box. I like to use the rounded corners with a radius of about 10. I do not want to fill the shape because all I'm going to do is put a box around something. So I don't want to fill the shape. I'm going to make the shape red because red draws your eyes towards it, and that's what we're trying to do with this. We want the person who's going to look at our finished product to look at certain portions of this image. So we're going to select red down here in the bottom left, and I'm going to give it a border size of about 4. That's how thick I want it, and opacity is going to be 100. It should be default to that. I've already played around with some stuff so that the settings were off, but it should be default to the 100% opacity. I'd make the border size about 4. I'm going to go with the radius of the corners of 10, and I do not want to fill the shape. And now I'm just going to select login. There we go. If we zoom back in, you can see there's a red box now around login. We want to tell our friend what to do with this box. I'm going to go back to this shapes page. I'm going to select the line tool. I just like to, and I'm going to make the size of that 2. I don't want it to be quite as thick. And I'm just going to do a little line right there. And at this point I want to pause because I want to show you kind of and I mentioned this in the last Pixlr video. This is just kind of a Photoshop / Pixlr / any photo editing app that has layers best practice. What I've done is not the way you want to do it. I've gone in and started editing the image, and I've edited the main layer. What that means is if I don't like this red box here, there's nothing I can do about it. I could try to maybe match the color of this background here, and just try to fill in the red box, but you can see that's not the best option. So there's really nothing I can do because I just put this red box and this red line right in the same layer. I right now can go back in my history because I haven't done much, but let's say I've been doing some edits for a while. I can't go back in the history far enough to undo that box. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo it this time since I can. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to create a new layer by clicking this little button here. And this, I want to make sure this layer is highlighted. You can see that it's highlighted in blue. The layer that's highlighted is the one that you're actually editing. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my annotations. Come back here and select red again. Got the box. I'm going to select the line tool again. Give myself a little line here. See, now if I don't like it, I can hide it, or I could delete the layer completely by dragging it down to that garbage, or I can just edit this layer. You know, if I come here and I just want to get rid of the line part, I can just delete the line part, and it doesn't delete anything on the other layer. If I'd added the box and the line to this layer and I did that, I would get a white box here, right? So that's why we create new layers for everything that we want to do. And when I add text, you don't have to worry about creating a new layer for text because it always adds another layer automatically. You'll see as soon as I click, there's a new layer right here. And it's always got a big A here that tells you that this is a text layer. So I'm going to say, click here to log in. That's too much red. I'm just going to go with white. I like to go with white for text. Don't want to be obnoxious. And it's a little bigger than it needs to be. Maybe go down to about 20. Yeah, I think that's about good. Now, in this case, this text is really easy to read. It's just got a nice gray background here. But that's not always the case. And I'll show you that with one of our next annotations that we're going to do. But for the sake of keeping everything kind of consistent, what I'm going to do, what I like to do is add a partially opaque box behind my text, just to make sure it's easy to read and it looks consistent. So for this, I'm going to add this box on the same layer as the red here on the line. Choose my shape tool. I'm going to go with the rounded corners again. This time I'm going to fill the shape, but I don't want it to be red. I'm going to want it to be black. Okay, so I have a black shape. This one doesn't need to have a border, and I'm going to give it 60% opacity. Okay, and you'll see why in a second. I just don't want. It doesn't look as good to have a solid black box behind your text. It looks a little nicer if it's if it's only partially opaque. So 60, no border. We're going to fill it. I'm just going to go right behind here. There. Kind of helps the white text to pop, make it a little easier to read. So that's it for that annotation. I'm going to label this layer. This is a login layer. It tells people how to log in, right? We can hide it. It goes away, except for the text. Text is always a separate layer. So that's it for that one. And next, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do the one where we labeled the menu buttons here. Not really a practical thing. I mean, they can see the menu right there. No point in pointing it out. But this is just to show you how you would point something out and label it if you wanted to. So I'm just going to go with the line tool. I'm going to go back to red. Just going to give each item here a quick little underline. Just like that. And then I'm going to draw attention to my what's about to be my description, my label. All right. Now, I did it again. I accidentally added all this stuff to a different layer, which in this case is probably not really a big deal. But just because it's a best practice, what I want to do, I'm going to select this and I'm going to cut it. Control X, just like Microsoft Word. Control X cuts things. I'm going to create a new layer, and Control V, I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to bring it back up to where it belongs. Okay. Not sure what this extra layer is. Must have accidentally created that. Okay. Oh yes, because I created a new layer, but when you paste something, it pastes it as a new layer, so I didn't need to create a new layer. It was going to do that for me automatically. I'm going to name this layer Menu Items, because that's what we're underlining over here. Make sure we got the right one. Yep. All right. I'm going to add my text. I'm just going to label these Menu Items. Again, I want white. I'm going to make this a little bigger though. Let's make this about 30. Yeah. Now, you'll notice that's really hard to read. That is why I use these background boxes here. Okay, up here it wasn't super necessary, but I added it anyways just for the sake of consistency. So I'm going to add another one down here. I'm going to make sure that I am in the menu items layer over here. And I'm going to select my shape tool. My settings are already the same. Click on this. I should have 60% opacity, no border. I'm going to fill the shape. And I'm just going to, there we go. Makes it a little easier to read. And you know what? I'm going to undo that, Control Z, and I'm going to bump the opacity up to 70 for this particular one. Yeah, I think that's better. Now the menu items really pops on top of this background here. So there, we've gone ahead and labeled the menus. We can create a new layer over here. I'm going to call it palm trees. Go back to the shape tool, go with the line. Just going to point at some palm trees here. I'm going to give it some text. Palm trees. Center it there. Shape tool. We got to go back and select our palm tree logo because we're inside our text logo right now. And it doesn't let you do things to text logo besides edit the text. So we'll select our palm trees. Oops. I'm on the line tool. I need to come over here to the box tool. I'm going to bump this back down to 60. Palm trees. All right, and the last thing that we're going to do was, you might remember from our image, there were some instructions down here telling people to scroll down and you'll see more options. For that, I'm going to use the paintbrush tool. And there's a really cool thing you can do when you come up here to brush. These options are normally not here, all these fun shapes. What I had to do to add them was go to More, and I selected Shapes. And these particular shapes were under Peace and Love. Boom. And I hit Add. And there's a ton of other shapes you can add just for your future reference. So definitely check all these out. But I went ahead and added those so that I could get some arrows. And there's a few different options here. This time, I'm going to use this one. Why not? You can see that's way too big. So I'm going to come down here to diameter, bump it down, way down. Still too big. Let's go with 25. And a little higher. 30? Oh, I don't know why it keeps doing that. That is a bug that I have seen before with Pixlr. It doesn't seem to want to let you type in your own number here. Then it turns your image into a box. So let's try a different arrow. With better luck. Sure, this one will work. Okay. So what I'm going to do is first I'm just going to make 3 red arrows. And if you're wondering why they're pointing to the right, it's simply because if you notice, there weren't any arrows that were pointing down, right? And I want to point down. So I'm going to create 3 arrows pointing to the right, stacked vertically. I'm going to select this tool, or this tool, or this tool, I think. Yep. Any one of these tools will allow me to do what I'm about to do. I'm going to right click. Oh, you know what I did? I added these arrows to my palm trees layer. So first I'm going to select it. Control X, Control V, so it creates a new layer. I'm going to right click after selecting this tool and choose Free Transform. Come over here in the corner till I see this circle icon here. Click and drag. Now I can rotate this layer. I can move it around. So now I have my arrows pointing down. All right. I'm going to throw in some text. Scroll down for more options. White. Let's make it 20. Sure. And name this scroll down. Okay. I'm gonna add my box. Okay. And there we go. So that's pretty much it. Most of what we did here was kind of repetitive, doing the same thing, but with little tweaks and minor differences here and there. But this is how I annotate photos if I'm going to label things and give instructions on how to do something. And of course, sometimes you just want to show someone a particular portion of the photo and what to do with it. One thing a couple different ways you can do that. If you want them to be able to see the whole photo but zero in on something in particular, what I like to do is first let me reopen our screenshot so I can start over. So I want them to zero in on the login portion. What I'll do is I'll select that portion, and then I will come up here to edit, and choose invert selection. So now I'm selecting everything except what I want them to look at. And I'm going to go to adjustment and desaturate. What that does is that takes all the color out of everything except the portion you want them to look at. For this particular photo, that's not really doing a whole lot to draw the attention because this was already made up of a lot of gray anyways. So there's some other things you can do just to make the part that you want them to see stand out. That probably wasn't a good idea. But if you had a photo, let's say you wanted them to focus on a more colorful part, like this down here. I really want them to see this description. I would do that. Invert selection, adjustment, desaturate. Now you're kind of looking right here. And if you want, you can still add borders. To really help them zero in. Oops. Or, of course, there's always the option of just cropping the particular part you want. So maybe you're just really trying to show them how to log in, and you don't want to send them a huge photo. Maybe you're going to send this to them on their phone. You just need them to see one portion. So make your annotations, and then maybe just crop this part. And now you're just sending in the important part of the image that they really need to see, the login button, right? So it's also good to do that sometimes if you're going to create a tutorial. Instead of showing them one picture with click here and then click here and then click there and then click here, maybe just show them a piece at a time. First, click here, then click here, and break it up into separate pictures. So, but that's how you do it. With Pixlr anyways, that's how I do it. So that's it for this video. If there is anything else that you are curious how you do in Pixlr, let me know. Comment on the blog, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Thanks.